I'm Chloe Crabtree from celebrateanddecorate.com, and you're watching Hometalk. I have a flower pot that has no hole in the bottom, so that's perfect for mixing my plaster of Paris right in it. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm adding the cold water in. The next thing you're going to do is to stir it thoroughly. Do not use your hand. Do not put your hand in this. That's a chemical reaction. I use a paint stirrer to stir it thoroughly and make sure you get all of those dried bits thoroughly coated with water. You will see it will start to get kind of creamy, and that's when it's going to be ready to put I'm going to use a piece of PVC in it. That's because I'm going to use this again and again for different projects. I don't want to put my PVC or a dowel rod right in the big urn that I'm going to be using for this Christmas project. This is how your plaster of Paris should look when you're ready to put your dowel or your PVC down into it, nice and creamy like so. Go ahead and put your PVC or dowel into the plaster of Paris and use some boards to prop it up like so, making sure that it is straight. This is a fantastic plastic garden urn that I have had for quite a while. If you've watched me before, you've probably seen. So I'm going to get a cloth wet and get it all cleaned up, and then we're going to paint it a fun holiday green and turn it into a fabulous base for a Christmas or holiday decoration this year. So here is my big urn that I painted green, and here is my PVC with the plaster of Paris in the flower pot. And it just so happens that this fits really tightly right down in there. And what I'm going to do is just take the corner and cut a piece off of the corner until I feel like I have a large enough hole that that piece of PVC, or if you're doing a dowel rod, will fit right through there. And it is, and see how that sits? That's just how I wanted it to sit. Now, for my second box, I don't want it on the same angle, so what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to have it more like so. So I want to go to one of the sides that I have not taped, and I'm going to go a little bit off center and cut a hole out that will fit over top of the piece of wood. And then we'll let that fall right down over top of it. And now we're having some fun stacked packages. And then I think for my last one, I will go back to the one on an angle like I had my first one. So that one's really easy. We know that we need to cut out a corner. So now that I've cut the top little bit off of my piece of wood, you can see that I have my topsy-turvy packages all, what's more, boxes right now, all ready to wrap. I'm going to be doing my Christmas decorating in plaid this year, so I've decided to do the top and bottom packages in this lighter plaid and this red and green it's kind of an opposite. I'm going to wrap my middle package. So it's time to get to work wrapping gifts. Don't forget when you're wrapping your gifts that you need to leave these exposed. So you can wrap them and then cut the paper out. You might want to put a little extra tape there to make sure that it doesn't rip around those. Here's one of our corners that we're going to need to cut out. So I'm just going to take and fold it inside. And like I said, just to make sure it doesn't just keep ripping, I'm just going to take some tape and tape it right inside there. And that just protects that just a little bit. And here is our other one, right here. Same thing, I'm just gonna cut. And there we have our holes all nice to put right over top of our stick to stack our gifts. So we have all of our packages stacked up. Aren't they fun? And what I've done is I have some white garland. I was gonna call it evergreen garland, but it's ever white. And because I've painted the pot green, I'm gonna tuck this right in here. And I have plenty of this. If this doesn't fill it up, I can add some more. So I'll see how that looks when it's done and see if I wanna add some more. And now I have tied some really big bows for our really big packages, like so, because it's not a proper Christmas gift without a big bow on it, is it? So I'm gonna go ahead and take some ribbon and wrap it around the boxes. I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna use my tape on this back side, and nobody's gonna see this back here. I'm just gonna tape that right down. And I can tuck this all the way down underneath our garland, and then I will put a little piece of tape on it there to secure it, because I'm going to put this out on my front porch, and then of course we have to have a piece going across this way. Same thing, another piece of that tape, and I'm going to take it all the way back behind where I taped the other piece. And again, I want that to crisscross. So you wouldn't even have to put a bow on if you wanted yours just to have the crisscross of the ribbon. Same thing, I'm gonna pull this way down in here and put that tape right over top of it, and that clear tape will not show. I put a piece of my packing tape over my chenille stem, and then I'm just going to make sure that I'm sticking this not just to the ribbon, but to the paper. And then I'm gonna fluff my bow just a little bit more. For this package, I want to put my bow right up in here and hide where my two packages connect. And I have extended my chenille stems with a couple extra ones, just wired them together, which actually gives me enough to be able to pull it through there and wrap it around the wood where I have put all of my packages on. So I'm gonna tighten that on there, twist that on there a couple of times, and then I'm gonna fluff that bow so it looks really pretty underneath our package. Wired ribbon is such a wonderful thing to work with because we can manipulate the bows however we want. We have our top box wrapped, and same thing, we're going to stick our bow on. Again, make sure that that tape sticks to the paper, not just the ribbon, because it won't stick on the ribbon so well. And again, fluff your bow so it's so pretty. Here are our topsy-turvy Christmas gifts. Aren't they cute? And you've made such an impact for not a lot of money. I mean, I used, I think, 2 rolls of this paper and 1 of this, and maybe 3 spools of the red and 1 of the green ribbon, an urn that I already had, and just a little bit of white garland. And look, it's over 5 feet tall. This is gonna be so impressive on my front porch, and it's nighttime now, but tomorrow I'll take it out on my front porch and I will get a picture for you. And I plan on making a wreath that will coordinate with it. So I will take a picture of it out there and show you how pretty this will be. And like I said, you can use it inside. And if you want, you could scale this down and not make it quite so big. So I am now all ready to greet my guests for Christmas at my front door with my big topsy-turvy gifts balancing in their urn, and I've added a few little gifts wrapped, tucked around the bottom of my plants, and I've added a big Christmas wreath with some plaid ribbon to my front door. And I think my guests will be bowled over by this as they arrive. So I hope this is something that you want to try this year